Shalom, Barakatah. This is High Priest called Halal Love the Law, back with another video lesson, giving all praises, honor, power, glory, dominion, majesty, reverence, blessings, worship, love, and admiration to the Most High, Yahweh, and Yahweh only. Double honors, triple honors to Yahweh and Yahweh only. No Bahashim. Understand that. All right. Now, the title of today's video lesson is Enemy Nations Living in Hell on the Second Earth. Yeah, that's right. As we speak, the enemy nations are living in hell on the second earth. Yes, there's a second earth parallel to this earth, similar but not identical. Okay. And what we read in the scriptures is that hereafter is a second earth that the Most High God is going to resurrect us to live on in physical form, in flesh and bones. He's going to speak it into existence, right? And we're going to live there. Everyone goes there, the righteous and the wicked. Paradise and hell are in the same place on the second earth. All right. So take this life serious, because this life is a trial, right? It's not a simulation. It's very much real, just like the second earth is very much real, right? So there's really no such thing as death, right? So we're going to get off into this video lesson, and we're going to show that hereafter on the second earth, the enemy nations are living in hell on the second earth. And I got to add in that wicked Israelites, they are a separate nation from righteous Israel. We are not the same as them. They are 2/3. And the Most High God is separating us from them. He says our people will be all righteous. Okay. So yes, wicked Israel, they are going to be living in hell on the second earth. They are living in hell on the second earth, right? May the Most High God have mercy on our people, okay? Right? So on the second earth, King David is there living eternally, ruling. And the Most High God has set King David to be king over righteous Israel and be the head of the government on the second earth. Okay? All praises be to the Most High God. All right? So we are being tested and graded in this life. That's what this life is for. Our real life is on the second earth. This life is real. It's not a simulation. Right? So be careful, because we are being judged. We are being judged by our works. So keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, because that's the determining factor of righteousness. That's the standard of righteousness, right? Do not try to find excuses and loopholes to not keep the commandments. We must keep the commandments even in captivity. That's the only way that we're going to come out of captivity. That's the only way that the Most High God is going to deliver us from out of captivity. Okay? So trying to find a loophole, you're going to go through a loophole and break your neck. That loophole is going to turn into a noose, and you're going to be hung by it. There's no way of getting out of this. Keep the law, statutes, and commandments so that you can go to paradise on the second earth, right? Because that's where our real life is at. That's where time is really slowed up. Time is slowed up. We read in the scriptures that on the second earth, If a child dies at 100, that's a curse. So a person 100 years old and still a child, the time is really slowed up, because that's where we are really living. That's where we really belong, but we are all being weeded out, right? Your family may not be your family on the second earth, right? Your family here may not be with you on the second earth. We're all getting separated. Your children may not even be with you, right? So we are all being separated. So that's why the Most High God tells us to teach this law to your children, right? Right. So this life is going to be either a testimony against you or a testimony towards you. Okay. Because the Most High God is all knowing. So when we pass on, and we pass away from here and pass on to go to the second earth, the Most High God is going to give us our judgment. And since he already knows who we are, the life that we live is just a testimony towards ourselves or against ourselves. So if someone was wicked, they can't say, Most High, my God, why am I a servant? Why am I a slave to these people over here? Why are they living in royalty and luxury, for eternity, and I'm a slave to them? You're going to already know why, because you lived ungodly in dissipation, filthy pleasures, and you tossed the commandments behind your back, and you chose to live your best life, right? In this life, it's just a short trial. It's like a prelim. Okay. So there you go. It's just going to be a testimony against you, right? So we're going to get off into this video lesson, and we're going to show that there are people living in hell on the second earth. And it's not a literal flamed, engulfed place, right? Where people are just burning in literal flames forever, just engulfed in flames. No, I heard Pastor Geno Jennings say that some people are going to hell and they're going to burn for all eternity. And when their flesh dissolve and they just are cremated to an ash, that JC is going to come and renew their flesh, make them a new person, and they're just going to burn all over again. And that process is just going to continue to happen for all eternity. That's Greek mythology. That's not true. They're going to feel the fire, and they're going to feel the fire of discomfort. They are going to be tortured and tormented in a captivity hell, not literal flames, but feeling the flames of discomfort. Okay? They're going to be afflicted and plagued with sicknesses and diseases and be in pain physically, emotionally, spiritually. They're going to be beat down. They're going to a very low estate. They're going to be experiencing heartache and heartbreak. Okay? Yes, they're going to go through hell. Right? Okay. So we're going to get off into this video lesson. Let's get right off into it. Let's prove that paradise and hell are in the same place. All right. And a lot of scholars can read the Hebrew scriptures and see that the Most High God is speaking of hereafter, where there is paradise and luxury and royalty for the righteous, and tortures and torment for the wicked, for the ungodly. All right. And a lot of scholars can see that. The New Testament writers, they saw that, and they saw that the Most High God was speaking of a second earth, a new earth. And in the book of Revelation, the New Testament writers, they called it New Jerusalem. Okay. But they took the Most High God out of the equation and basically replaced the Most High God with JC. Replace David's role with JC. Everything is getting replaced with JC, the Lamb. Okay. And in the Quran, they also saw it and they wrote, if you're not Muslim, then you're going to hell and you're going to burn and but pretty much everyone that reads the Hebrew scriptures, they can see that hereafter it is a paradise and there is a place of torment. Okay. And these places, paradise and hell, are in the same place. And we're going to prove that now. Paradise and hell are in the same place on the second earth. And 1 Samuel 28:19 proves that. And it reads, 1 Samuel 28:19, moreover, Yahweh will also deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines. And tomorrow shall thou and thy sons be with me. Yahweh also shall deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines. So to give some context here, Saul, the wicked king of Israel, he has realized that the Spirit of the Most High God, the Holy Spirit, is no longer guiding him and instructing him. So he goes to a witch to bring up Samuel that has already passed. And he's bringing up Samuel to give him some type of guidance and instructions because he understands that the Spirit of the Most High God has left him. And when this witch brings up Samuel, the righteous priest, he tells Saul that tomorrow, the next day, you and your sons shall be with me. And Samuel has already passed. He's on the second earth. So Samuel, being righteous, is saying that Saul, the wicked, and his wicked sons will be with him on the second earth in the afterlife, in the hereafter. So how is the wicked going to go to the same place as the righteous? How is wicked Saul and his wicked sons going to go to the same place as righteous Samuel if paradise and hell is not in the same place? Well, yeah, paradise and hell is in the same place on the second earth. That's how we know that hell is not a place that's literally engulfed in flames. Okay? It's judgment. It's going to a lower state. Now let's get that. Now let's go and get that. The enemy nations are living in hell on the second earth. Let's go to Ezekiel 26:19. We're going to start at 19. Ezekiel 26. And this is them wicked Hamites going down to hell, living in hell on the second earth, right? the wicked Hamites, Tyrus, right? The wicked Hamites that sold us into slavery to the so-called white man. Yeah, the Most High God says he's not forgiving them for that, right? For thus says Yahweh God, when I shall make thee a desolate city, like the cities that are not inhabited, when I shall bring up the deep upon thee, and great waters shall cover thee, death. When I shall bring thee down with them that descend into the pit, with the people of old time. So this been happening, right? Going down to the pit, to hell, to a lower state, and shall set thee in the low parts of the earth, at a lower state on the second earth, in places desolate of old, with them that go down to the pit, that thou be not inhabited. Right? So you're not going to be established as this thriving kingdom that's thriving in your wickedness. And I shall set glory in the land of the living. Right? So we have to distinguish between when the Most High God is speaking of the land of the living on this side and the land of the living on the other side, on the second earth. We have to distinguish when the Most High God is speaking of captivity salvation from captivity, and salvation of the soul. Okay. I will make thee a terror, and thou shalt be no more. Though thou be sought for, yet shalt thou never be found again, says Yahweh God. And here's a precept to that. He said he will make you a terror. Let's go to Isaiah 66 and 24. Isaiah 66 and 24. Isaiah 66 and 24. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me, for their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh. So we are going to be able to see these people on the second earth, because paradise and hell is on the second earth. It's in one place. Just like you can probably say that, hell and paradise, they're both here on this earth, right? But it's more severe on the second earth. Okay. So we're going to be able to see these people because they're going to have shame on them, and they're going to be in chains. I'm talking about real low, battered slaves, right? Like it says here, Ezekiel 26, I will make thee a terror, and thou shalt be no more. You shall be no more a thriving, wicked kingdom. Though thou be sought for, yet shalt thou never be found again, says Yahweh. So even though they will seek to establish themselves again, they will have no might in their hand to rise up. Right? Now, let's go and get Ezekiel 32, and we're going to read more about this hell on the second earth. We're going to start at 17. Let's start at Ezekiel 32 and 17. Let's go. All right. I got more video lessons on the second earth. I got one on this channel. I got plenty of more video lessons on the second earth on the Kelvon Israel channel. Check it out. All right. Ezekiel 32:17. It came to pass also in the 12th year, in the 15th day of the month, that the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, wail for the multitude of Egypt, and cast them down. So speak their judgment, curse them, cast them down, even her and the daughters of the famous nations, unto the nether parts of the earth, with them that go down into the pit. Right? Whom dost thou pass in beauty? Go down, and be thou laid with the uncircumcised in the flesh, and the uncircumcised in the heart. Right? They shall fall in the midst of them that are slain by the sword. She is delivered to the sword. Draw her and all her multitudes. She's slain by the sword. She is delivered to the sword. So they die by the sword, or they're just dying, and then they're going to be delivered to the sword on the second earth, where they're going to be under our sword on the second earth, because the Israelites rule the second earth. The righteous Israelites. The strong among the mighty shall speak to him out of the midst of hell. Wait, hold on. Wait. The strong among the mighty shall speak to him out of the midst of hell. How can you speak to a dead body? Why is the mighty speaking to a dead body? Because these people that died, they are living on the second earth in hell at a very low estate. And the mighty righteous Israelites are directing them, ordering them, commanding them to do this, do that. The strong among the mighty shall speak to him out of the midst of hell, with them that help him. So all of his allies too, them wicked allies, they're going to be with these wicked nations. Everyone that joins themselves to the wicked, right? Righteous Israelites are going to be ruling on the second earth. If these wicked Israelites join themselves to help these wicked nations, like a lot of these sisters, man, they help Esau Edom. They are going down with Esau Edom, right? They are agents to his system of oppression, right? So they are going down with him. The strong among the mighty shall speak to him out of the midst of hell, with them that help him. They are going down. They lie uncircumcised, slain by the sword. There's no might in your hand, right? Uncircumcised, you die without the covenant of the Most High God. Yeah, that's right. Ashur is there in all her company. His graves are about him, all of them slain, fallen by the sword. So the Most High God is letting us know that these people are dead. They died, but they are living on the second earth because he resurrected them to the second earth. Okay. Now, let's go and get that. We're going to precept that. Let's go to Daniel 12:2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. There you have it, right? So, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth, so people that go down to the grave, people that die, shall awake, right? So your soul goes up to the Most High God. The Most High God is going to fashion your soul with flesh and bones again on the second earth. You're going to awake to judgment, and some is going to go to everlasting life. That'll be the righteous, and some to shame and everlasting contempt, right? Punishments, everlasting punishments. So Ashur is there in all her company. His graves are about him, all of them slain, fallen by the sword, whose graves are set in the sides of the pit, right? So many shall sleep in the dust, and they shall awake. And her company is round about her grave, all of them slain, fallen by the sword, which caused terror in the land of the living. So they are living in tortures and torments because they cause terror on this side, right? There is Elam, the East Indians, right? And all her multitude round about her. From the top, there is Elam and all her multitudes round about her grave, all of them slain, fallen by the sword, which are gone down uncircumcised into the nether parts of the earth, which caused their terror in the land of the living. Yet have they bore their shame with them that go down to the pit. Okay, the dead cannot bear shame. You're dead, you can't bear nothing. But these people, they have died from this earth, and they are living on the second earth in shame. That's where they bear their shame for causing terror on this side. All their idolatry and all of that. They have set her a bed in the midst of the slain with all her multitude. Her graves are round about him, all of them uncircumcised. They don't have the covenant. They didn't take hold of the covenant. Slain by the sword. Though their terror was caused in the land of the living, yet have they bore their shame with them that go down to the pit. He is put in the midst of them that be slain. Okay. There is Meshech, Tubal, and all her multitude. All of these Hamites and Japhites, all of these Africans and West Indians, East Indians, all of these people that didn't take hold of the covenant, all of these heathens, these Gentiles that didn't take hold of the covenant, right? They are gone down to the pit, living in hell on the second earth, right? Her graves are round about him, all of them uncircumcised. They don't have the covenant. Slain by the sword, though they caused their terror in the land of the living. Right? So, spreading idolatry is terror, right? You know, just to add that in, that really is terror. That's a sickness, right? And they shall not lie with the mighty that are fallen of the uncircumcised. So there are certain Gentiles that did take hold of the covenant. And these Gentiles are considered the mighty, wise, right? These Gentiles that are considered the mighty among the uncircumcised, they are not in hell with these nations. Though they be of these nations, they are not taking part in the hell judgment of these nations because they were wise enough, stood up mighty, and took hold of the covenant, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, respecting his law and order of things, respecting who the real Israelites are, right? And that the Most High God made us, his chosen people, to be above them. They accepted that. So they are not among their, their fellow, they're not among their countrymen. They are among the righteous Israelites, right? And they shall not lie with the mighty that are falling of the uncircumcised, which are going down to hell with her weapons of war. When it says you're going down to hell with your weapons of war, it means you're going down to hell with your violent acts. So your sins follow you. And they have laid their swords under their heads, right? A lot of people, they worship their guns and their swords. They look towards their guns to protect them before they look towards the Most High God to protect them, right? But their iniquities shall be upon their bones. So your iniquity is going to follow you. It's always with you, just like the bones always in the grave. Your iniquity is stained on your bones. And as we read in the valley of dry bones, the Most High God is going to bring us back to life, So that's right. Go ahead. If it's sparking your spirit, help me teach this thing, That's right. So from the top, and they shall not lie with the mighty that are fallen of the uncircumcised, which are gone down to hell with their weapons of war. And they have laid their swords under their heads, but their iniquities shall be upon their bones, though they were the terror of the mighty in the land of the living. Right? So yeah, a lot of these Gentiles that take hold of the covenant and stand up bold against their wicked governments, they go through hell. They go through terror. They are being terrorized, right? Like Islam become terrorists to those that do not become Muslims and join them in idolatry, right? Yeah, thou shalt be broken in the midst of the uncircumcised, and shall lie with them that are slain with the sword. Yeah, and Christianity used to do that too. With the Crusades, they made you believe in JC by violence, right? There is Edom. So Edom is in hell among these enemy nations. The enemy nations are living in hell on the second earth. There is Edom, so-called white people, her kings and all her princes, which with their might are laid by them that were slain by the sword. They shall lie with the uncircumcised and with them that go down to the pit. That's right. And we know We got to make a whole video lesson about all of the wickedness of the so-called white man, but he is living in hell with the enemy nations of Israel, the enemy nations of real Israel, so-called Negroes, right? There be the princes of the north, all of them, and all of the Zidonians, which are gone down with the slain, with their terror. They are ashamed of their might. So yeah, they are ashamed. They are ashamed of the things that they did now on the second earth. And they lie uncircumcised, right? Without the covenant of the Most High God. Wicked works, not keeping the commandments. With them that be slain by the sword, and bear their shame with them that go down to the pit. Hell. Hell on the second earth, right? Yeah, that's right. And there is a second death as well. It's a second death on the second earth. You could die, and we don't know what happens there, right? When you're there, you probably will know. You probably just go into non-existence, or the Most High God got something else for you. You know, we're not told that much, right? We just breaking down what we are told. He didn't go that far with us. Pharaoh shall see them and shall be comforted over all his multitude, even Pharaoh and all his army slain by the sword, says Yahweh God. So even Pharaoh is slain, but he's in the pit in hell, and he is seeing them. The dead can't see nothing, right? So how is he seeing them? Because he's living in hell on the second earth. Pharaoh shall see them and shall be comforted over all his multitude. Even Pharaoh and all his army slain by the sword, dead, says Yahweh God. Dead on this earth, but living in hell on the second earth. Right? For I have caused my terror in the land of the living, and he shall be laid in the midst of the uncircumcised, with them that are slain with the sword, even Pharaoh and all his multitude, says Yahweh God. Now, the land of the living here is the second earth. The land of the living being spoken of here is the second earth. It says from the top, for I have caused my terror in the land of the living. Since they caused their terror in the land of the living on this side, on this earth, the first earth, the Most High God now is bringing them to hell and causing his terror in the land of the living on the second earth. For I have caused my terror in the land of the living, and he shall be laid in the midst of the uncircumcised, with them that are slain with the sword, even Pharaoh and all his multitude, says Yahweh God. All right. So let's get off into Egypt. It's predestined fall. Right? Let's go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel 31. Because America is spiritual Egypt. Edom is spiritual Egypt, right? So-called white man is spiritual Egypt. Right along with these Africans, they are literal Egypt. So let's go and get off into this predestined fall of Egypt. Ezekiel 31 and 16. I made the nations to shake at the sound of his fall, when I cast him down to hell with them that descend into the pit, and all the trees of Eden, the choice and best of Lebanon, all that drink water shall be comforted in the nether parts of the earth. Right? The trees of Eden. Right? The Garden of Eden, the trees of Eden. So we see that the trees, they are a metaphor for peoples, groups of peoples, right? It says from the top, I made the nations to shake at the sound of his fall when I cast him down to hell with them that descend into the pit and all the trees of Eden. Right? So the trees in Eden, when we go back to the Garden of Eden, the Most High God tells us to stay away from certain people, certain trees that bear fruit that's not literal fruit, but fruit that are deeds and philosophies. The Most High God wants us to stay away from false doctrine. And when we take hold of these false doctrines, we separate ourselves from the Most High God, because these false doctrines are mostly idolatry, right? They also went down into hell with him unto them that be slain with the sword, and they that were his arm, that dwelt under his shadow in the midst of the heathen. To whom art thou thus like in glory and in greatness among the trees of Eden? Yet shalt thou be brought down with the trees of Eden unto the nether parts of the earth. Thou shalt lie in the midst of the uncircumcised with them that be slain by the sword. This is Pharaoh and all his multitude, says Yahweh. So these people, these nations, right, they were with Adam and Eve. These different groups of people, right? So it was more than just Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. You know, trees is metaphor for people. The fruit that they took is a metaphor for false doctrines, philosophy, deeds, wicked deeds, right? All praises be to the Most High God for that understanding, right? Precept upon precept is how we get the understanding and how we unlock secrets in these scriptures. So yeah, let's get that. So we have to be able to distinguish between the captivity salvation and salvation of the soul, right? But let's get that. Isaiah 60, 10. So this is speaking of the second earth too. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their king shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. The Most High God speaking to the Israelites. Therefore, thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. Right? Paradise and hell is in the same place on the second earth, right? It's all on the second earth. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yeah, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Right? So this lets you know that it's not a literal hell that they're going to, where they're just going to burn. It's not the Greek mythology hell that they're just going to burn for all eternity, but it's a hell of servitude where they are serving us, right? For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Message, understand that. All right. Now, let's go and show real quick. Let's go and show where you have to distinguish between captivity salvation and salvation of the soul. Let's go to Ezekiel 36 and 32. Okay, Ezekiel 36 and 32. Not for your sake do I this, says the Lord God. Be it known unto you. Be ashamed and confounded for your own ways, O house of Israel. Not for your sakes do I this, says the Lord God. So on this earth, we're not coming out of captivity, right? Because of what we did, but it's for the Most High God's name's sake, right? So the Most High God is going to bring all of us, righteous and wicked, out of captivity, but it's for his own name's sake, right? It's not for what we did, Our forefathers had bore the punishment. We're bearing the punishment, 400 years. He's bringing us out, right? So salvation from captivity, is not of our righteousness. But we're going to go here and see that salvation of the soul is of our righteousness. So we have to be able to distinguish between salvation of the soul and salvation of captivity. Over here, when you go to Ezekiel 33, let's go to Ezekiel 33 and 19. This salvation is of our righteousness, right? Ezekiel 33 and 19. But if the wicked turn from his wickedness and do that which is lawful and right, he shall live thereby. Right? So, doing what's right, that's of our own righteousness. Then we shall live on the second earth in righteousness and luxury, delivered from the captivity hell. Okay? All right. We'll come back with more edification on the second earth. I know that was edifying, right? Cleared up some things. All praises be to the Most High God.